The morning sun crept through the curtains, but it brought no warmth. You stared, her body stiff, her eyes swollen from the night before. For a moment she forgot where she was, until her gaze landed on the locked door, until she remembered her sister's scream, the gunshot, the way the body had collapsed into the dirt. You sat up, her breath uneven, her chest felt heavy as though someone was pressing down on it. She touched her face, her cheeks were damp. She hadn't realized she did been crying in her sleep. The door opened with a sharp click. A maid entered quietly, carrying a tray. "Breakfast, ma'am," she said softly, placing it on the bed. "Eggs, bread, fruits and tea." Stream rose gently, carrying a smell that turned you stomach. She looked her head, refusing. The maid looked nervous. "Please, you must eat. The boss will be angry if I don't want it." You whispered, her voice hoarse. The door cracked open, heavy footsteps. The maid instantly bowed her head and stepped aside. Taehyung entered, dressed in a black shirt, sleeves rolled to his elbow. His eyes went straight to you, sharp, unreadable. His presence filled the room, pulling the air tight. He looked at the untouched food, then at her pale face. "You didn't eat," he said flatly. You lowered, her eyes clutching the blanket around her like armor. Taehyung's jaw ticked. "You think starving yourself will punish me?" He walked slowly towards her, each step controlled, dangerous. "You are wrong. You will only hurt yourself." She flinched when he reached out, brushing a strand of hair from her face. Even that smell touch made her body jolt, her heart humming. "Look at me," he ordered. His hand titled her chin up roughly, forcing her to meet his gaze. His eyes were dark, unreadable storms. "Don't ignore me ever." Her thought worked, but no words came. She was so afraid to broken. Taehyung studied her silently for a long moment. The only sound was her shaky breathing. Then he let go. Turning to the tray, he picked up the spoon and held it out to her. "Eat," he commanded. Her hands stayed clenching in the blanket, his eyes narrowed. His presence was changed. "Do you want me to feed you myself?" Her chest tightened slowly with trembling fingers. She reached for the spoon. She took a small bite, forcing it down, even though every swallow burned her throat. Taehyung watched her closely, satisfied when she obeyed. "Good girl," he murmured, though his tone was not kind, it was possessive, calming. When she managed a few bites, he took the spoon back and set it down. He sat on the edge of the bed, too close, his presence suffocating. "Do you know why your sister died?" he asked suddenly. Her body stiffened, her eyes widened in horror. "Please don't." "Because she touched what was mine." His voice was low, cold, final. "Because she thought she would steal you from me. No one can, no one." Tears spilled from her eyes. She pressed her hand to her face, shaking. Taehyung's hand slid to the back of her neck, firm, unyielding. He pulled her against his chest, ignoring her trembling. "Stop crying," she made her choice, "and you belong here with me." Her heart pounded, every nerve screamed to pull away, to run, but she couldn't. His grip was iron, his words chain minutes passed in silence, broken only by her muffled sobs and his steady breathing. Finally he realized her standing tall. "Rest," he said, his voice carried both commanding and warning. "Don't test me again." He left the door, locking behind him with a heavy click. You curled into the blanket, silent, tears soaking the sheets. The mansion around her felt alive with eyes, guards at every corner, cameras watching, doors bolted. There was no escape. Night pressed heavy against the mansion, the silence broken only by the ticking of the clock on the wall. You lay in bed, her body curled tightly around the blanket. Her eyes were open wide, staring into the dark. Every time she closed them, she saw it again. Her sister's face, the gun, the sound that split the world around. She bit her lip hard, fighting back the sobs, her chest heavy, her breath shallow. The walls of the room felt closer every second, like they were crushing her. The door cracked. You froze, her body stiffened as the sound of footsteps entered the room. Taehyung. He crossed the room without hurry, his shadow stretching across the floor. He sat on the edge of the bed, looking down at her. "You are awake," he said softly. She didn't answer. She couldn't. Her throat was tight, her body trembling. He reached out, brushing the hair from her damp cheeks. Nightmares. Her eyes closed as if studying him out could erase his presence, but his hand stayed warm against her skin. "You don't have to be afraid," he murmured. "Not when I am here." Her lips trembled. A bitter laugh wanted to escape, but she swallowed it. How could he say that? He was the reason she was broken, the reason her sister was gone. Still, when his hand moved to the back of her head, pulling her gently against his chest, she didn't resist. She was too tired, too weak. His voice was low, almost tender. "I told you before, you have no one but me now. Everyone else will betray you. Everyone else will leave you, but me, I will never let you go." Her hands clenched into fists. His words cut deep, planting seeds of fear and doubt. She hated him, yet a part of her knew he was right. Her brother, her sister, even her childhood neighbor, none of them could protect her. Her heart ached with the truth of it. "You think I am cruel?" he continued, his breath warm against her hair. "Maybe I am, but it's because the world is cruel, and I will not let it take you from me. I will protect you even from yourself." She shook her head weakly. "I don't want this." His grip tightened, pulling her close until her face was pressed to his shirt. The faint scent of smoke and expensive collagen filling her nose. "You don't have a choice," he whispered, "but one day you will understand. You will see that only I can keep you safe." Her body shivered. She hated the way his voice sank into her skin. She hated the way her heart betrayed her with its uneven beats. She hated him, but his arms were strong, steady, the only thing keeping her from drowning in her grief. He laid her back down gently, covering her with the blanket. His fingers lingered against her cheek, tracing it slowly, possessively. "Sleep," he commanded softly. "I will be here always." Her eyes fluttered shut, not because she trusted him, but because exhaustion finally crushed her. And as she drifted into uneasy sleep, she realized the most terrifying part of all. Even in her nightmare, Taehyung was there, the days blurred. Taehyung never left her alone. If she was not in the room, his guards were every door locked, every window sealed. She was surrounded by a fortress of iron and fear. At meals, he sat across from her, watching every bite she took. If she refused, he fed her himself. At night, when she woke screaming, he came instantly. Sometimes he held her, sometimes he whispered until her breathing slowed. His presence was overwhelming but also steady. She didn't want him, but she couldn't stop relying on him. The line between captor and saver blurred, and it tore her apart inside. One afternoon, she sat by the window staring at the rain. The glass was cold beneath her fingers. Her heart ached with longing for freedom, for her old life, for anything but this. The reflection in the glass stiff. Taehyung stood behind her. "You miss the outside world," he said quietly. Her throat tightened. She didn't answer. He leaned closer, his voice dark and intimate. "It doesn't deserve you. Out there, people hurt you, they betray you. Here you are mine. No one touch you, no one harm you. Isn't that better?" Her lips trembled. She wanted to scream no, but her voice refused to come. He smiled friendly as if her silence was the answer he wanted. His hand slid to her shoulder, heavy and claiming. "You will learn," he murmured. "Soon you would not be able to imagine life without me." Your heart sank. His words wrapped around her like chains. She stared at the rain, silent tears running down her face, and realized the terrifying truth. The night had a thin, clean cold that made the lights in the garden look like distant stars falling to the earth. You sat by the window watching those lights, feeling the glass press cold against her palm. Her chest felt tight, like someone had wrapped rope around it. She had not left the room in days. The world outside seemed both very near and completely untouched. The door opened before she could think to move. Taehyung entered. Without a sound, like a shadow. He didn't close the door behind him. He came straight to the window and looked out with her for a long moment, neither of them speaking. Finally, he said softly, "Come with me." She looked at him, surprised. "I can't. The guards, they will follow at the distance," he said. "I want you to with me tonight." His voice was quiet, not a command so much as an invitation from someone who already owned the room. She stood, her legs felt weak, but she let him take her hand. The touch was light, almost casual, and every cell in her body flinched. Outside the garden was a different world. Lanterns hung from low branches and through warm pools of light across hedges dreamed like dark waves. The air smelled of wet earth and jasmine. Guards stood in shadows, places eyes steady and unreadable, but far enough away that the two of them felt alone. Taehyung guided her to a stone bench beneath an old white tree. The bench moved slightly in the night window. The small leaves made a soft rustle that sounded gentle enough to be a promise. He sat close to her, but no touching. He watched her face, the curve of her jaw, the way her fingers twisted in her lap. Do you like the stars?" he said after a moment. She blinked, unsure how to answer the question, but felt simple, foolish, and somehow dangerous. "They are pretty," she whispered. He smiled, a small shape that made him less like a storm and more like a man. "They are," he said. "They don't move for anyone. They stay where they are and watch." His eyes turned to the sky, then back to her. "You should look at them more often. People who only look at the ground miss a lot." She glanced up. The sky was white and black, and the stars are gold points of light. She let herself looking for a long time, and for a moment the tightness in her chest loosened. It felt foolish to feel safe under a sky that had no idea who she was. Still, her breath came a little easier. Taehyung watched her watch the stars. He reached out then, and for a second his hand hovered near her arm. She flinched as always. He didn't move away. "You still flinch," he said softly, almost like a fact he observed, not a cruelty. Even now." She swallowed. "I can't help it," she answered. The words were raw and honest. She had no filmy politeness left. "You have trained me to be quick with fear." He nodded as if that made sense. "I know." His voice had no mockery, only a steady, dangerous affection. He turned to face her fully. The lantern light catch the planes of his face and made him look younger for a moment, mortal and uncertain. "Do you hate me?" She didn't say the answer he wanted. Instead, she said what was true and true and simple. I am terrified of you. His eyes dark in a way that made the leaves shiver. He leaned in so close that she could feel his breath on her cheek. Good, he whispered. If you are terrified, you will listen. If you are listen, you will be safe. The words should have felt like a lie. They didn't. They settled like ice and pressed against the inside of her ribs. He cupped his hands together as if holding something small. I will protect you, he said, and the sentence came out soft, almost like a secret. Protect you from anyone who tried to take you or who would use you. I will make sure no one ever touch what is mine. She wanted to tell him he had already run everything he was trying to protect. Instead, she let out a small sound that could have been either a laugh or a sob. You don't protect people, she said, you own them. He stared at her for a long moment, then slowly his face softened into an expression that was almost tender. There is a difference, he said, between keeping something and caring of it. I will keep you, I will guard you, I will care for you as I know how. Care in his voice sounded like a plan and rules and identity. She had seen how he cared by killing, the punishing, he deciding the shape of her life. She wanted to recoil. Instead, a tremble tightness made her shoulders drop. Why me? She asked suddenly, the question that had lived inside her head for weeks. Why had he chosen her from the rain and blood and chaos? Why had he not killed her or left her for the alley? Taehyung had finally moved, not to touch her but to rest lightly on the cold stone between them. You were different, he said. You look like someone who could never belong to his world. It was interesting, dangerous. I liked that. But then it became more than that. I could not stop thinking about you. She pressed her lips together until he couldn't see them shiver. The sound should have been fleeting in another life. Now they sounded like a verdict. You would not stop, she said, more a statement than a please. His fingertips tightened into the stone. No, I will not. He turned his head to look at her, his eyes wet and hard at the same time. I will not let anyone take you, and I will not let you vanish. Something inside her hardened at that. The man who killed anyone for looking at her had also become the man who would not let her go, even when she begged for the sky. The thought made her stomach sore and fear and something like clarity. She rose from the bench slowly. The night air felt cold and honest against her face. You can keep me all you want, she said, steady and low, but I am still me. I will find a way back to myself. He didn't stop her. He watched her go, his profile a dark cut against the lantern light. When she turned at the gate and looked at him one more time, his voice came like a promise or a threat. She couldn't tell which. You will learn to love me, he said. The words were quite a vow, and in turn both not because I will ask it, because I will make sure you have no choice. No, she whispered into the night. One day I will leave, even if I have to break anything to do it. The guards watched from the dark statues without mercy. The stars traced their indifferent paths across the sky. You pull her coat tight and walked back towards the house, the small fire of her resolve burning underneath the heavy blanket of fear. She would not give up, not yet.